Sooner or later, these people will have no choice but to come to the conclusions that I came to quite a while back.
Like you, be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
Let's listen to Pavarotti.
Hello, welcome to The Revealing. I am your host, Pavarotti, and I'm here to discuss the Idaho 4 case. Now, in this video, this is going to be video 1 of 2, and what I want to do in this video, I mean, some people out there think I'm crazy, but I asked, and this isn't the first time this stuff has happened, but I asked on a video, I said, hey, Taylor, throw us a bone. As you reply to the state's objections, because they sealed their objections, I said, reply and don't seal your replies so we could actually learn some things. Throw us a bone. She threw us some bones. And I swear she threw me one. I swear she did. Maybe I'm just crazy. But I'm going to show you something that's very interesting in the Amazon warrant. And I'll show you the bone. I mean, it's because I'm the only one that I know of that has ever broke down State versus Thompson in this case. And I don't know how many times I've broke down State versus Thompson, but she threw me a State versus Thompson bone in this Amazon warrant. I mean, there's no, she had to have, because there's no reason for it to even be there. So I'm going to cover that. And I also want to cover, and I'll give you why State versus Thompson is so important. But also, I was watching another content creator. I'm not going to mention their name because they hate me anyways. And if I mention their name, they're just going to attack me. So they were doing some really good work, found some really cool things. But it perplexes me because once they find the stuff, then they go, oh my God, what does this mean? It almost proves my case, y'all. So I want to show you that in this one too. This is going to be a quick one, but I assure you, you're going to want to watch it. So this is the defense's reply to the state's objection to the defendant's motion to suppress the Amazon warrants, dated April 26, 2023 and May 8, 2023. And we're not going to read the whole objection. I'll summarize it for you. It's just hilarious. Okay, so basically the first thing she's going to do is she does in all of the motions to suppress is she's going to cite Franks and IGG and the arguments made in those. But then this entire argument, separate argument, is related around the wide use of law enforcement being able to subpoena all of the purchasing records from knife companies, okay? And basically her argument is that the times have changed since of old, so that the law needs to change to reflect the changing of the times. So basically, if you were investigating this case 30 years ago, she said you would have to go to, all the retail outlets and get information from retail outlets that sold knives, and you would probably do it in that area, maybe the surrounding areas, and you would be limited to that. But now, due to the internet, they can request information from knife manufacturers, and you get purchase records from all over the world. And if you don't want the watchful eye of the government, Big Brother, looking at every single thing that you do, then they need to update the laws to match the times. And that is the entire argument in here. And you can see this is why third-party doctrine must be re-examined at the national level. If we, the people, do not wish to live under the ever-present eye of the government, something must be done. In Idaho, Mr. Kohberer's argument is that, now this is the bone right here, it has nothing to do with this entire argument. It has nothing to do with it, I promise you. But we can read the whole thing if you want, and you can see it has nothing to do with it. But in Idaho, Mr. Kohberger's argument is that something has already been done. Here's your bone, Pavarotti. It lies within State versus Thompson and Idaho's protection of privacy. Okay, so State versus Thompson really has nothing to do with any of this argument in this whole Amazon warrant that she's making as it relates to updating, current laws to fit current times. But State versus Thompson is a slap in the face. Now, let me explain to you State versus Thompson so you clearly understand what it is. Okay, so Ann Taylor has been citing Case versus Thompson in this Kohberer case since I don't know how long, but she cited it many, many, many times. And without her citing State versus Thompson and me becoming very familiar with it, I wouldn't have found nearly half of the things that I've discovered in this investigation that I've done into this case. But for you to understand State versus Thompson, okay, State versus Thompson is a Supreme Court ruling. So it is the law of the land. So she was convicted in court. She appealed. It was held up in the appellate court, but then it went to the Supreme Court. And what I'm going to discuss with you is the facts of the case and the Supreme Court's final ruling so you can clearly understand what the law of the land is related to this issue, because it was a Supreme Court ruling. So in the State versus Thompson, it's a complicated brief, but it was for two parts. All right, there was two different search warrants. There was a search warrant for a pen register first, and then there was a search warrant issued for a wiretap. The wiretap allowed law enforcement to listen to her calls and determine that she was selling drugs to people in prison. Okay? So the Supreme Court's ruling, after they looked at everything in the case, first they upheld the warrant for the issuance of the wiretap. They upheld that warrant because of the information that the pen register produced. So they took the information from the pen register, looked at the affidavit of law enforcement applying for the search warrant for the wiretap, and said there was sufficient evidence. The issuance for the search warrant for the wiretap was upheld. That was good. But then their second ruling was about the pen register. And in the pen register, the search warrant that was issued for it included hearsay evidence, hearsay statements from a confidential informant, an unnamed confidential informant. Since the confidential informant is unnamed, their reliability could not be verified. Therefore, the Supreme Court ruled that the search warrant issued for the pen register is unconstitutional due to informer's reliability. Now, without the pen register, the search warrant would not have been issued for the wiretap. So that's where you get the fruit of the poisonous tree. Because they suppressed the pen register, they didn't have the information to get the wiretap. Therefore, the wiretap warrant was suppressed. Therefore, the Supreme Court overturned the conviction of Thompson in that case. That is why it is so important to the Kohberer case. And that is why uncovering the confidential informant, or at the very least being able to discredit them due to being unnamed and not being able to verify their reliability, is one thing. But in a case this big, they have to go a step further. They have to uncover the confidential informant because it's been hidden so well. And then they have the ability to find him unreliable due to his past perjury. And let me show you something else. I'm telling you, every argument that she makes in this, it all relates back to the argument in State versus Thompson. And that is informant's reliability. Once you get the informant uncovered through all of the massive ways that they've tried to cover up the informant, then their reliability is the key factor to everything. And as I've stated, the person that I believe to be the informant will be disqualified for informant's reliability due to the fact of his history and the fact that he's been charged with perjury, lying to a court. I mean, it's a done deal. It's game over once that confidential informant is brought out into the open. And I was watching a content creator putting together some excellent information. And then they at the end, they get perplexed. I don't know why, because at the end of them presenting their information, I was even more enlightened. Let me share some of their findings, and then I'll show you how it applies to this case. And I don't know if there's no way you can deny what I'm about to show you. You see, they went through and was looking at these documents as it relates to dates. And you can see that it says that Kohberer was observed entering a CVS in Pennsylvania on December 16, 2022, and his email account, Bryan Christopher 1994 @gmail.com, and phone number was somehow obtained by law enforcement. And what perplexed them was the fact that they also had located right here where the state had identified Mr. Kohberer on December 19th, 2022 through investigative genetic genealogy. And in their minds, they go, well, what's going on? If they didn't get him till the 19th through the IgG, how could they have him under surveillance on the 16th? Well, it's real simple. The IgG was manufactured after they got his name. Now, why would they have his name on the 16th? Well, let's follow this little timeline that I've put together on Mr. Farley as it relates to the Kohberer incident, and then we'll see what happened in this. You can see on December 1st, Farley's transported back to the Latah County Jail from his arrest up in Spokane. Now, on December 14th, law enforcement serves a search warrant to Brent Kohberer and unalives him. Magically, the very next day, or that same day really, Farley out of nowhere waives his preliminary hearing and is bound over to district court with John Judge. Just waives it, says, I don't need one, take me straight for my arraignment. And then on December 16th, law enforcement gets information on Kohberer. I bet they got that information on Kohberer on the 15th from something they found with Kohberer. And then you've got on December 19th, Farley is gifted the Rule 11 plea agreement with the deal of the century terms that I went over in detail with you. Funny, isn't that the same day that law enforcement states they identified Mr. Kohberer through a bogus IgG? That was them covering up Farley's involvement in being an informer in this case. It is plain as day. It is all right there in front of us. I've laid it out. I don't know. Anyway, there is a ton of information that has been dropped in these documents. I've got another video I'll do this afternoon for you. And then tomorrow, I may have to do another document video before I do that video tomorrow night on all the responses for the roommate situation. And then I've already got more information on that. I'm not going to disclose right now, but please like and subscribe to the channel. Post your comments, thoughts, criticisms. Till next time, Pavarotti's out.
I was an ordinary boy until I broke the rules my life destroyed.